and began working for a boutique film production company in Orlando, Florida, as well as directing plays in New York City, Los Angeles, and regionally all across the United States. Clayton wrote and directed the Amazon TV series Finding Miles, which we had the privilege of working on together, and currently has 2 Christmas movies in pre-production as well as a new television show. In addition to his professional directing and producing work, Clayton serves here as a college professor, teaching a wide range of courses in performance, entertainment business, producing, directing, entertainment leadership, and a dear colleague. Please welcome Mr. Clay Guiltner. Woo! Now show us some two-step.
No, thank you. Hey, everybody, how's it going? I really appreciate my classes sitting up in the front and in the back. I appreciate that. Too bad you're not going to pass this month. Okay, so thank you guys for hanging out tonight, and I'm really excited to introduce some really great people who are going to speak with us tonight about content creation and content as it relates to marketing as we move forward in the entertainment business, and I know a lot of you are in the entertainment business side here tonight, and how important it is not just to have a great business plan and a great strategy and a great pitch and a great marketing plan, but how important it is at the very foundation to have great content, right? Do we have content creators here tonight? Will you raise your hand if you are a content creator? Lots of you, as is evident usually at the LA Film School. We have lots of content creators, and I know a lot of you are on the music side and on the scripting side, and you just do a lot in those areas. So I hope tonight will be a huge benefit for you. So our first panelist that I would like to introduce to you is a current student here at the LA Film School studying film. He's over on the dark side, but it's all right. He is the digital media producer for the One Earth initiative, and he specializes in video editing and web and graphic design and social media management. He has worked with such clients as the former Nebraska Attorney General and the Office of the New York State Attorney General, as well as the American Civil Liberties Union. For those of you who don't know, that's political. Patrick is an alumnus of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, where he studied musical theater and broadcast journalism. And following tonight's presentation, he will be doing a performance in musical theater. Just kidding, he's not. That was a joke. The connection that Patrick and I have had together is, many of you know that last year Pamela Newton wrote a book about her mother called A Candle for My Mother, and she commissioned me to direct and produce and put together some video shorts for promotional purposes for her book. And so Patrick, she hired on as her social media director. Who took care of all of her social media platforms and pushed all of those videos out over the course of months and a year, and we saw great success from that initiative. And last March, Pam and I were able to go to New York City, where we were honored with an award called the Synopsis Short Form Video Award, where we won for the best promotional video. Now, this was significant for us because we were up against the big guys with multi-million-dollar budgets. We were up against Paramount and Disney, and I told Pam, don't even enter us, because we were working on a shoestring budget. It's a waste of money to enter this competition. We won't win, and I am Mr. Negative. And she's making fun of me to this very day because of that, because we did win. And what was really significant to me about that was that it showed me that content does matter. It wasn't for us about our budget and all of the resources that all the big studios had that we were competing with. It was about the content that we had. And so Patrick has had a huge part in that, and he was a huge part of the day. Was that 1 day or 2 days that we shot all of these videos where we interviewed people about their mothers, and so we'll talk a little bit about that tonight on the panel. But I want you to watch this real quick.
If my mom was here right now, I would let her know that I love her very much.
I just want you to know that you're always in my heart.
So I really would like to say I appreciate you, I love you, and thank you so much for putting up with me.
I would say I'm so sorry that I made you sad a lot of times.
Like I always tell her, I'm so grateful for her. She's everything to me. If she were here right now, I would say, thank you. I love you, and let's go out to dinner.
Will you welcome Patrick Brown? Thank you for being here. Our next guest, Jake Bulgarino. I did it right. He is the co-founder of Eastward Films and has over 14 years of experience in developing, producing, and directing commercial and documentary content for both digital and broadcast platforms. He has worked both domestic and internationally as a cinematographer for the last decade or so, right? And he also holds a Bachelor of Science in Business from Mount St. Mary's University. And we would like to show you this video.
One, two,
Ireland was 5 weeks old when she had her first blood transfusion in the hospital. They were going to administer her blood, and they said her hemoglobin was 2.8. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know it needed to be above 10.
I have diamond black fan anemia. My body doesn't make red blood cells.
Ireland needed a blood transfusion every 3 weeks to live.
She has beads of courage to wear every time she got poked or stuck or blood transfusion.
I only had transfusions 113 times.
Even though she's had DBA and she's needed blood, she wouldn't let it slow her down. There was never a time that she told me, "Mama, I don't feel good enough to do that."
Blood donation has become the priority in our life.
Every 2 seconds, blood is needed. For the Red Cross, it's 13,000 pints that we have to produce every single day to keep patients alive. Delta is just an incredible supporter of the American Red Cross and our mission to really alleviate human suffering.
We're just thrilled to partner with the American Red Cross. It's a great partnership and one that means a lot to Delta employees. It's ingrained in Delta's DNA, in our culture, to give back to those in need in the communities where we live, work, and serve.
The number one issue and reason why people don't give blood is that they're not asked.
People see our daughter and they see 113 blood transfusions. They feel a lot more willing and open to donate blood.
Hundreds of employees will come and give an hour of their time to come and donate blood.
I give them a hug and I hold their hand when it happens. Thank you for giving me blood.
Ireland is in remission and has been for the past year.
There are those, like Ireland Rose, who need ongoing treatment. There's only one source of blood, and that's another human being.
Ireland will always have diamond black fan anemia. Even though she's in remission right now, we don't know how long that'll last. So it's very important to us to promote blood donation. Obviously, it saved her life the first 7 years, and more than likely will save her life again in the future.
For Delta Airlines to get involved, they're just absolutely fantastic.
We are very thankful for Delta, for them to even care and then to give that much. It's so special to us.
I think everyone should give blood.
As a father, I would say to everyone who's donated blood, thank you. You are our hero. You're truly giving the gift of life.
Let's welcome Jake Bulgarino. And we want to welcome tonight Torre Catalano. And he is an award-winning writer. I'm tripping all over my cord here. Sorry. He is an award-winning writer, director, and producer. In the past decade, he has become a leading force in digital media, creating content for the biggest celebrities and brands in the world. Catalano was recruited by Capitol Records in his early 20s to build their global digital media division. And it was there that he developed his signature brand of storytelling with artists like Katy Perry, Coldplay, Radiohead, and more. His work alongside will.i.am on Yes We Can made history when it won the first ever Emmy Award for a web video. And his company that he founded, The Colors Like You, has combined all the facets of his experience to create a one-stop shop for clients to build custom new media content. And let's watch this. Welcome, Torre Catalano. We just want to thank you guys so much for being here tonight and for imparting wisdom to us. So no pressure to impart wisdom.
Thank you.
So tonight we're talking about short form content, we're talking about marketing, we're talking about the work that you do. And I know that we did, this little introduction, but I would like for us to start by you just telling us a little bit about what you do and what your company is and some of the work that you do.
Yeah, do you want me to start? Sure. So yeah, what you saw up there is pretty much it. We started in music kind of at the start 10 years ago. Concert films, music videos, stuff like that. Now everything is brand oriented. Still usually involves music, but we make it all. Short form, long form, for digital, for broadcast. Mostly digital now these days.
And you spoke about earlier having a lot of experience in live concert production. Can you tell us a little bit about?
Yeah, so I direct a show called Live from the Artist Den. It's that show that like at 11 p.m. you're like, flipping through, it's on PBS, and it's a live concert of a band you like. So we've directed over 60 of those, everyone from Adele to Mumford & Sons to Panic at the Disco, so that we kind of cut our teeth on that show, and then kind of became one. There's a small group of people who shoot live concerts, and we got in there kind of through that show. It's a grind because you're producing an event and a concert. But it's addicting and fun.
Yeah, I bet. So you had the responsibility of both the live concert and the filming.
Yeah,
of that.
yeah. So like half of the company was focusing on putting the show together because it was all for one client, and then they had Chase as a sponsor, so we had to make sure they were happy and getting their VIP seats and fulfilling their contest winners. So it was a large, like their whole marketing of their show revolved around shooting the show, but we helped them with the other aspects as well.
Got you.
Yeah.
I would just guess that anytime you have Chase involved, you want to make them happy.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Probably.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent.
Yeah.
Jake?
So my name is Jake Bulgarino. I co-founded Eastward Films back in 2011 with my business partner in Washington, D.C. We basically started out as kind of a branded and advertising, like full script-to-screen production company. And kind of throughout the years, I've moved more into the development and direction of documentary filmmaking and unscripted work. And so the piece that they showed with Delta and Politica is very much like kind of in our wheelhouse. Is kind of what we really kind of got our name from in the very beginning, doing these like longer format, like very like cinema style docs that have a lot of heart and emotion to them, but also find a very like clever way of trying to like, push forward like a bigger message.
Right, and by the way, both of their websites, thecolorsyoulike.com and eastward.com, they have a variety of different videos that you can go on and watch, and I encourage you to do that because they have some phenomenal work on that on your website, so I encourage you to go take a look after the event. Patrick?
Hey, I'm Patrick. I'm currently working with a nonprofit called the One Earth Initiative. We make short-form videos informative about the Earth and ecology. But I met Clayton actually through the school here. Pamela L. Newton, she was a professor here, and we worked on a project called A Candle for my mother. And I did her website and manage all of her social media.
Which many of you visited, and I'm sure he's grateful for those visits. Yes? So this line of questioning to start with is going to seem somewhat cliche, possibly, but I want to just start the ball rolling as we talk about specifically short-form video content. And I was telling them earlier that I was amazed after this awards ceremony that Pam and I attended. And during that awards ceremony, we saw all of these different amazing short-form promotional videos, some of which I recognized having seen on social media, from all of these major studio companies here in LA and all over the world and in New York. And it was just amazing how much money and time and effort had been put into those. And as I left that event, I started to realize my addiction to short-form video. I didn't realize it before, but I spend a large amount of my day watching my phone and watching 6-second videos over and over and over. I don't know how I'm addicted, but I am, and you are too. We all are. And that's really what we're talking about here tonight. So as we talk about, well, we're not just going to talk about short-form video, but I wanted to start with that. But as we talk about short-form video content that we put out in marketing, what role do you guys see that playing from your vantage point as creators in the marketing universe today?
Well, it kind of is marketing now. I was talking earlier to you about that, where years ago, or only a couple years ago, our content that we were making was part of a brand or an artist's marketing plan. Now it is the marketing plan, and so we just recently actually did this whole video campaign for Lactaid milk. We shot Cookie Monster, which was very cool and a lifelong dream achievement, meeting Cookie Monster. But that was our first kind of stab at the 6-second. We had to do a 1 minute. We had to do a 3-minute long form. Well, that's long form now. A 3 minute for YouTube, a 30-second, a 10-second, and a 6-second. The 6-second kind of started melting our brains because we were like, how do you even convey anything in 6 seconds? But then it was in conjunction with YouTube, Google. They sent us like a best practices 50-page deck on the whole user experience. I probably shouldn't even be talking about it, but anyway, when people check out, what their attention spans are, the whole nine, and we were just like, holy crap, this is it, right? And just the other day I was watching an Instagram video from a friend, and what are those 10 seconds, your stories from your friends, and the friend wrote "wait for it." And it's we have to say "wait for it" on a 10-second video. That's how short our attention spans are, because you'll check out before the 10 seconds is up if that disclaimer is not there. So the role that it plays is that it is marketing now. I mean, in the most broad sense.
Yeah, I think I could actually probably second a lot of that. I've been doing branded content for close to a decade now, and over the years, it's become shorter and shorter and shorter, and the attention spans have changed. And what would be, that Delta video was probably cut 15 or 20 different times, and cut down, cut down, cut down, cut down. It's even gotten to the point now. I did a shoot in New York in June with Centrum Vitamins, and we did all vertical video. And so we actually, instead of actually cropping the sensor of the camera, we actually flipped the entire camera vertical, which was an experiment, and it was fun. It's kind of, you get all of that resolution back. But 2 years ago, that would have never been the case. And so now we're shooting just for phones. That's not always the case, but it's definitely moved that direction for sure.
I can kind of spin off that too a little bit. A lot of the time we're working with 1-minute videos with One Earth, and the amount of words we want to put into the video don't normally fit. So I don't know if you've seen a lot of times on Instagram, they'll be highlighting specific words instead, so the viewers can read those specific words instead of reading the entire sentence, which cuts it down entirely, which is a huge difference from just complete sentences.
Well, and I know that we can deduce from the things you're talking about now the challenges that there would be in looking at content and saying, how do I cut this down? How do I create a 6-second Cookie Monster spot that's going to work? I can imagine there's lots of different challenges in that. So what are some of the challenges? And maybe more specifically for this conversation, what are the hidden challenges that we may not be aware of in that?
I mean, just hitting all the points that the client wants is a challenge, you know? I mean, even in the 15-second and the 1 minute, we were like, how are we going to convey that milk is cold, milk is refreshing, milk is good for you, you know, it's happy, you know, make sure we have like an up-close shot of Cookie Monster because that's the iconic shot of him devouring the cookies. Sutton Foster, this actress who's wonderful, was also in the commercial. Make sure we get a close-up of her. And I'm like, we have 15 seconds, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, the challenge is obvious. It's the old, you know, Ernest Hemingway, if I had more time, I would have written a shorter letter. Like, you don't, it's hard to make short stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably second all of that. You know, I think our hardest part as a production company, the biggest cut down comes from that, probably like the 1 minute cut to the 15-second, and because there's still like enough time there that they want to say a whole bunch of things. We don't have as much problem with the 6 seconds because it's like you have 6 seconds, so here is kind of it. And if they want like a different version or a style of it, totally happy to do that. But I think a lot of the time is that 15-second mark for us has actually been is the difficult one.
Yeah,
because there's just enough time.
That was the one that really racked our brain.
Yeah.
Well, and I would imagine, Jake, in your case, because you're doing unscripted, so you've got these interviews, you've got this content that's kind of got a mind of its own, I guess you could say, and then you get all of that material back in your lap, and then you got to cut it down. So that would be, I would imagine that would be difficult.
It's usually a labor of love and tons of man hours for sure. Just kind of going through all that stuff. But yeah, you know, it's kind of just the nature of the beast at this point, you know. So. Yeah.
Well, Torre, you mentioned a moment ago about the client. So in talking about clients, what do you find difficult, swinging back around, not necessarily with short form, but swinging back around just to the idea of content in general? What do you find difficult about getting clients to come on board with what you know needs to happen for the content to work, but the client may not have a background in creativity, yet they're paying the bill and they want it this way? How do you deal with that? How do you work with your clients in that way?
Alcohol.
Yeah, second that. Lots of alcohol, bourbon.
Yeah, I mean, it's the puzzle, right? It's the age-old. It's what drives you nuts. It also addicts you to the, you know, trying to find that middle ground of like, and yeah, 9 times out of 10 the client is like, well, can't you just do it? Can't you just shoot it? Isn't that easy? And you know, they're talking about things. I'm in talks with a music video for a huge artist right now, and she was like, can't you just, you know, I want to be shot in the desert. Can't you just animate the desert around me? And I was like, I can. For a lot of money, you know. So it's just, yeah, it's finding that balance and you know, taking the ideas that are good so they feel like they have a win and you want to work with them, but then the ones that are bad, maybe trying to spin it so that you can do something that makes more sense for their budget or for the whole campaign. It's kind of a never-ending push and pull, and I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think this is probably broken down into a lot of things, but one of the more difficult things is I think you have to be able to manage your clients' expectations based on the budget they have. And there is a take and give there, because what if it's a new client? So now you want to impress them because you want repeat work, versus like an older client you might have a relationship with that you can be like, this is kind of ridiculous, you know. So that's one thing I think is managing expectations. I think the other thing is like there's a big education process between especially the move to digital, you know, because for years, and this is changing now, but for years, you know, these bigger agencies and these bigger brands, digital meant cheap. And so compared to broadcast. And so there is an education process. Well, you still want broadcast quality in your digital content, but you're not willing to pay for it anymore. And as we were talking earlier, it's like every year it's the squeeze, you know, and budgets get tighter. You have to find ways to make things work. And I guess the last part I'll make is the relationship you have with the client. Is, you know, we're talking about it's not necessarily their job to have an entire vision on what this end product's supposed to look like. It's our job to show them. And so if you have a longer term relationship with a client, they'll trust you more that they know you're going to execute. And so earlier on, you're not going to be able to take as big as chances with new clients as you would with a client I've had for 3 to 5 years. Sure. Yeah.
And going back to talking about the cost, they probably think that a 6-second video should also be inexpensive because it's only 6 seconds, right?
Right, but still the full crew has to come out the entire day. Right, yeah, exactly.
Right.
A day is a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no half days.
Now, Patrick, in your work, you work for an initiative that you know what the content is, you know what your vision is. It's the same client because it is what it is, right? So do you still run into any issues where you're working with the brass, so to speak, where you're having to fight on content?
Oh, absolutely. My boss, for example, he's very, very meticulous. I'm talking Steve Jobs, if it's even one little bit of a color off, meticulous. So I always try to meet him halfway. He once had me move a logo over literally 2 pixels, and I said, no one's going to notice. It's 2 pixels. But you just have to meet him and say, hey, here it is, and does it work? And usually we get good results. So.
Hopefully he won't watch this streaming later. If you're looking for a job.
You've been terminated.
Yes.
What can you do?
Yes. I want to talk for a moment about working with celebrities and working with celebrities in the marketing area. One of the things that we learned, that Pam and I learned at our conference, or at our awards ceremony that we went to, was that many of the celebrities that were featured, and they had Queen Latifah and Beyonce, and the list went on and on and on of the celebrities that were featured in the videos that won that night, is that many of them did not ask for a paycheck, first and foremost, and that the producers did not approach them with a paycheck, but they were approaching them with the content, meaning they were approaching them with the heartbeat of what the content was going to be and trying to find a match between what the message of this video was going to be and what the heartbeat of that celebrity is, even though they would pay them a fee. But the idea was, hey, we can call any agent and we can offer any celebrity X amount of dollars to do our spot and they'll come do it. But the idea is that if they actually care about the product and the project and the heartbeat of it, then the work somehow starts to shine in a different way. It just has a different feel. And so I was wanting to see if you guys could speak to that from your vantage point of your experience in that. Do you see that to be true? Do you have any examples of that at all? Or
yeah, I mean, it definitely depends on the project. I mean, I certainly have dealt with many, many campaigns that the celebrity is showing up for a paycheck. Yeah. But, like I shot a lot of personal projects for celebrities. Like we work with Pink a lot. She has a whole wine company, a vineyard, the whole nine. She wanted to pay us to tell that story. She didn't want to spend a lot on it. I mean, even though she's a huge celebrity and she makes a lot of money, you get it. You know what I mean? It's a passion thing for her. So, we did it for cheap. She did it for the love of it. We were up at 5 a.m. while she was picking grapes and, shooting. So, yeah, it depends on the project. But I think the content is, better when either way, when the celebrity believes in whatever it is that they're talking about.
I think I used to work for a few political candidates, and I think it's the same with celebrities as well. You really want to know where their heart lies and what they truly believe in, and then you can choose the words, maybe help them out a little bit to help them be able to say what they mean and what they want, either on camera or for a journalist.
I think I probably fall on every side of that coin except for that one. The stuff where we have used celebrities, it's been paid, and sometimes they're excited about the project, sometimes they're not. And that's just like the reality of it. And then on the other side, my heart's in documentary filmmaking. Sure. I'm not paying anybody to tell their story, so yeah.
Yeah, it's a little different. Now, when we talk about celebrities and short form video content, do you think that in the entertainment business today, do you think that celebrities and brands of celebrities that they understand the importance of short form, or they shy away from, I don't want to be in some 6-second video, you know, I'm just wasting my time. Is there any of that kind of thing that you're seeing, or is that not a thing?
Yeah, no, I think the ones who get it, you know, and especially the musicians I work with, they're usually active on Instagram or Twitter, and they know that that's the way right to their fans, you know. So yeah, I think it's mostly embraced.
You know, I'd probably also like second, you know, a lot of the talent that we ended up actually using in a lot of our videos are YouTube influencers, because that was a very big thing for a while, and obviously they're social media, you know, tycoons, and so I mean they get paid very handsomely for their day of work, you know, and so yeah, I mean obviously, you know, I think to get to that level, you know, there's a serious like understanding of short form content and being able to put stuff out consistently with a similar voice and tone. So yeah.
When I was growing up, social media tycoon was not a thing. I don't even know what we
Me neither.
wouldn't have known what is that.
Can I
that's
trademark
a thing.
that? Yeah,
it's a thing.
right.
So one of the classes that I teach here and that we have some of our students here for tonight is leadership and organizational behavior. And in that class, we talk about working with teams. We talk about the importance of gelling and kind of moving forward with a team. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that today, because I know that the work that all three of you do is centers around a team of people. You're not a one-man show in any way. So do you believe that, I guess the question is, do you believe that working in teams makes the content stronger, and how so? If it does or if it doesn't, can you give us some examples of how so? How does that work?
The biggest threat to any kind of content production, whether it's a narrative film or a documentary or whatever, is people not staying in their lanes. And people think they can do it all. Like I have, you know, taken meetings with so many actors who want to write, direct, produce, star in, shoot, dance, wardrobe design, like just like that's all great, but you know, nothing hums better than a team when everyone is doing their thing. And like my guys and girls and everyone that I work with, everyone knows their role. They pass the ball when they need to. I totally yield to the people who know more about certain things than I do. That's the way shit gets done.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate you saying that. It's very true, very true.
Yeah, I think he probably said it about as well as I could have. You know, I am a big proponent to collaboration, but like he mentioned, you know, you have to be able to kind of lean on people that specialize in what they do. You know, me trying to do everything is never going to work, and I'm going to make myself crazy. So, yeah.
I think for me, my entire team works remotely, so it's very important that when we are on phone calls or emailing that we say exactly what we mean, and I always make it a thing to tell them, if you do not like something, directly tell me. Don't dance around the bush. Just say you don't like it so we can move forward and move on and be productive.
We talk a lot about, in our entertainment business program, we talk a lot about trends. We talk about how in the world do we keep up with trends when, you know, every time the wind blows, it changes, it seems. And I'm just curious, you guys are on the forefront of you're the trend makers, or you're the trend, you know, promoters. So how do you keep up? How do you keep up with current trends?
I don't know, so can you tell me?
Yeah. If you find out, you're going to be a tycoon.
Hard work. You know, I mean, I'm speaking from a structural standpoint as like a production company here. And so for us, it's been very important that we remain agile. Agility has been our most important asset over 8 years. I have had to change what we've done so many times, whether because maybe it worked for a little bit, doesn't work anymore, or we tried something and it totally fell on its face. And so, yeah, I mean, keeping up with trends, you know, I think it's kind of just, it's part of the process and listening to people and listening to your clients. And you know, your bank account will reflect if you're not keeping up with the trends, for sure. So, yeah.
I try to hire young people, much younger than me, much cooler than me, but keep it diverse, you know, queer people, you know, black, white, green, brown. I try to keep it as diverse as possible, learn the different, you know, communities, take advice. I like 9 times out of 10, I don't know what a client's talking about when they want, a buzzword trend, and then I go to one of the people who work with me and tell them to tell me what they're talking about. And that's probably part of the like staying in your lane thing as well. But keep it diverse, keep it open-minded. Yeah.
We do the same thing here as instructors. We ask you guys what in the world's going on, right? And you make us look ridiculously stupid every day. No. So let's staying on the idea of teamwork. Jake is heading to Sudan. Is it next week?
Yeah, about 10 days.
In about
South
10
Sudan.
days. Yeah. Can you talk to us a little bit about that project and about you're just taking a short team, like one other person or two? And
It's just me and a cinematographer, and then we have
just tell us a little bit about that. A little bit about that project,
sure.
if you don't mind.
I'm directing a piece for the World Food Program, so in South Sudan, and so kind of our deliverables from the end of that is we're doing a short form piece plus 2 30-second spots. One is based actually around climate change and how it affects people, in farms in very rural areas in South Sudan that no longer can grow the crops that they want to grow. And then the other one, South Sudan is a very conflict-ridden country, unfortunately. And so when conflict happens, resources can't get in. And that's kind of where the World Food Program kind of comes in. They build kind of channels to be able to get to places that most nonprofits can't get to. And so it's going to be super small, super nimble. Me and a cinematographer, we'll have, like I said, we'll have a fixer there. The fixer is someone that is very, lives in the country, is very familiar with the culture, kind of steers us away from trouble. We'll have security and all that stuff. And so I'll essentially fly into Juba, take a 2-hour helicopter ride. I just actually had the call this morning, so now I actually know the details. We'll take a 2-hour helicopter ride to essentially the middle of nowhere. They'll drop us off on Monday, and then they come get us on Thursday. And so it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
Wow. Yeah. Amazing. The fixer, I would assume, would often say snake. I
hope so.
When you get back, I want to find out if that's what happened. One question I forgot. I'm backing up a little bit here, guys. Bear with me. I'm hopped up on coffee. One thing I wanted to mention when we were talking about working with clients, because all of us in this room in the entertainment business, all of us in this room, no matter what your degree plan is and what your background is, you're working with people, you're working with clients all the time. So I wanted to just hit on a couple of other things on that. So can you guys give us an example, if you have one, of a time when you were communicating with a client, they were communicating with you, they wanted something that you knew was a bad track, a bad idea, and perhaps it didn't go you had to do it the way they said and it made you look bad. Did that happen? Or are there any stories where the client won, I guess is where I'm going with that you can tell us about?
Yeah, I mean, I've done things that aren't even things. Like I've done shots that aren't even real. Like, yo, can you pan this way and that and upside down? I'm like, things I've never even heard of. I've done to please a client. But it's hard. It's like that same thing we were talking about, walking that line. Yeah, you just gotta do it. And I tell people, like, some jobs it's coming, so I'll like prep that that DP or producer. Usually it's the same people I work with, but I'll say, like, on this one, guy, like, I had to shoot Monday. I was like, I know the client. They're not like, and you got to know the organization. Like, are they creative people, or are they like in another division? But they're, they killed the creative people, so now they're being tasked with stuff and they don't know what they're talking about. That was one of these situations we went in. I was like, they're going to start saying stuff. It's not going to make sense. Just do it. Like they wanted us to. It was an interview. They wanted some movement in the interview. A slidey thing, I think they called it. I was like, bring the 4-foot slider. Well, we don't have room for it. I know. Like, I'm talking to my DP the night before. Just do it. We'll set it up. We'll show them it doesn't work. Even if it doesn't work, we'll just keep it. You got to just kind of do that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. I mean, I would second all of those things. I think it's a balancing act. Sometimes I think a lot of times you'll go into a project and you'll be like very big-eyed about like, oh, the possibilities of like this creative and this thing, and usually a portion of that stuff gets walked back. I think the one thing we've done kind of works a little bit is sometimes we'll have to kind of provide 3 creative approaches for for one idea, for one spot, and we usually put the idea we like the most second. And so the first one will be so insane, off the wall, and then the second one will be the idea that we want that's toned back from this like crazy idea, and then the third one will be kind of we'll try to make it a little lame. And so it's a little bit of like psychological warfare. Part of it is also like, you know, they want to be the ones sometimes that it's a very ego-driven industry, and they want to be the ones that feel like it's their idea.
Inception. You got to sometimes plant your idea.
No, all the time.
Totally.
You plan it 2 weeks, you know, into a conference call, and then, you know, you kind of find another way to bring it up, and that's part of it. Is like, you know, you got to kind of let them come to it on their own terms, and that does not always happen. And just to kind of also piggyback off, you know, the one thing you said about the slidey thing. You know, we always know usually before production starts if the client's going to be a nightmare or not. And so then we try to not only like mentally prepare, but like, and then also we have to prepare our crew, you know, and let them know like, hey, just stay in your lane, you know, which also goes back to staying in your lane. So, yeah.
Kind of piggybacking off you a little bit, letting them come to it on their own terms. We had someone that we were working with who was releasing a documentary about climate change, and he was actually the founder of our organization, and everything he was saying in that documentary went against our mission and our values in the company. So we had to have multiple conversations with him, why this doesn't work, why this should not be released or associated with us. And unfortunately, we lost. So we just had to prepare ourselves as best as we could for any media backlash and just be as well prepared as possible.
Well, as someone who myself is in the creative side, and you guys are in the creative side of creating content, and many of you here on the creative side as well, I'm wondering if you can give us some insight into how you stay fresh. How do you keep from burnout? We know that it's a grind, you know, in this industry, and I know it's you know, a thing. So can you tell us a little bit? Just this is your Oprah Winfrey moment where I'm asking you to tell us something deep.
Can I say alcohol again?
I know. Second
You
and
may.
again.
You may.
Yes.
I'm actually interested what you guys, because I'm actually don't know.
You know, when I was younger, I could just go nonstop every day, all day, and you know, burn myself out. I would burn myself, candle on both ends, and then sleep one day, and I'm like, I'm great again. And that's not so much the case anymore. It's usually like it's like a 2.5, 3 day thing now. So there's a few things I do. You know, one is I try to set time for myself away. And so like it's me working towards a goal, whether it's 8 weeks or 10 weeks or whatever, even if it's like, you know, a 3 day, you know, break. It gives me something to kind of, it's like the little carrot that like motivates me to get through it. And the other thing is like, you got to kind of like take care of your body. Like you do, like, you know, I exercise and try to eat healthy. Like those things do make a difference when it really counts. And you're going to get burnt out. Like there's no, it's going to happen, and you're going to be frustrated, and you're going to get migraines, and like those things are going to occur. But you can mitigate some of the damage by trying to take care of your body, for sure. That's the best I got. And alcohol, lots of it. Like I mean, the more I work, the more I drink, and so it's just like it's a thing. Yeah.
That's something we don't teach in class here, but
it's the future for all of you, all of you.
Yeah,
I
mean,
guess,
go ahead.
I guess eating well, that's really important. Getting your sleep, but also taking breaks. I take a lot of breaks during the day if I just need to go walk around the block or just do some mindfulness, I guess. That's how I get through those days.
Well, it's actually funny. I have an editor that does that. He has some app or something, and so he sets it so it's like 25-minute increments, and then he gets like a 5-minute break or something, or 10 minutes or something. How it is, and he seems to really like it. So it
works.
It's like 25 minutes. It's like this. You know, and then he gets it to like chill for 5 or 10 minutes. I don't particularly do that. I'm like, just like head in, don't stop, like until I'm done.
Yeah, I don't eat well or exercise, but like I'll tell my, but I should try. I'll tell my assistant like a detox day, like is me like going to see like a Marvel movie in IMAX, like just to F off and like, you know, eat mozzarella sticks and like go to the, you know, city walk and do that, or, you know, self-love in some way like that, where you just, you know, go see a show, or I do a lot of like woodworking and art on my own in my backyard. You know, that recharges me for sure. But I do kind of like the marathon work and then dangling the carrot. That's kind of, we're probably like similar age, and that's, I feel like our kind of generation is just like burn the candle for like a couple weeks, and then just crash out. And I used to like, wake up the next morning and be like ready to rock again, and now it's like a minute. But yeah, all those things are good. But eating well,
The age thing is coming, you guys. So just get ready. Right, C. Michael? Just becoming. Good. So this talk tonight, you know, we have some very creative movers here on stage, and we're very honored to have them here. And so I wanted to talk about the short form content, and I wanted to talk about their process, which we've done. And I know that we have some of our marketing class here, I think, and some of our students who are learning about marketing and the business side of things. And so you may have some questions that tie in some of that content for us here tonight. So I want to open it up and give you guys an opportunity to ask them some questions. And if you want to ask them specifically, you're welcome to do that, or you can ask as a whole, and then they can answer as they see fit. So yes, sir, can you be loud?
I mean, I think that's an absolutely fantastic question. You know, it's like, you know, I hit a point, you know, probably a few years ago where I actually got burnt out doing commercial work, and I had like a 6-month period where I was like, I don't know if I can continue. I needed to find what it was. I needed to like kind of find my love and my passion and my joy for it again. And that was kind of starting the process of when I started to really move into creating my own documentaries. And so, you know, kind of that, we always talk about the carrot dangling. My carrot is being able to still develop my own work, where I am the only one beholden to what I do. And so that helps. And there are like a ton of fun projects that like we do. And like, I mean, I'm going to, you know, South Sudan, which would have never happened, you know, and that's great. But for every one of those, you know, there's 12 others that, you know, you might grit your teeth a little bit. But, you know, I guess, you know, after that 6 months, you know, that period, I had to come to like the realization is like what we do is really, it's not that serious. We're not curing cancer. We're not, you know, we're not a doctor. Like we're all kind of like playing in the sandbox and having a lot of fun. And we're fortunate enough to be in this industry and be able to do this stuff. Like first and foremost, you need to have fun with it. And if you can't have fun with it, you should probably just get out. And that's probably my most honest, transparent answer I could give you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'll just piggyback real quick. I'm really competitive, and I think when I start feeling like that frustration of like I got to get out of this, I try to think like how, like look at it like a puzzle, like an actual fun puzzle. Like how can I make this impossible client happy within these crazy constraints? And it becomes like a Rubik's Cube, or it becomes, you know, like the ultimate Sudoku or whatever it's called. It's like just make them happy, and that's really gratifying. But yeah, I mean, I got a call today from a huge pop star wants me to go to Hawaii with them, follow them around with a camera, and I said no because I just didn't feel like it. And I literally had to think today, like 10 years ago me or 15 years ago me would be pretty psyched that I have this life and get to make fun content. So you got to just, yeah, it's got to be fun.
I think for me, when things get lame or boring or overly the same, I try to learn something new. I go to Coursera.org or Lynda and try to implement that into the new project or another project just to have some sort of refresh that keeps it going a little bit more.
Good. Another question? Yes, Randy.
Kind of a two-part question. First being, have you really seen any difference between working with like A-list or music film celebrities versus working with like YouTubers, social media influencers? And the second part of that being, has there been a change in how they have worked with you, like an awareness in the social media people or YouTubers as you've worked with them, as that internet style has changed?
Yeah, I guess I can answer. I mean, we haven't done a ton of work in that space, but the work that we have done, typically having traditional talent, actors or actresses, they're a bit more traditionally trained usually. They know what like a real commercial film set looks like. There's expectations that they have, and there's expectations we have, and it's already kind of pretty clear. Sometimes with the influencers, it can be a bit of a mess, to say the least. And I won't name, but there was a one-day shoot, New York City, man on the street style video with this influencer. And he got paid very, very handsomely for one day. He showed up 2 hours late, kind of drunk, hungover, hair everywhere. And so we lost 2 hours of production that day. And and it is what it is, and it's done. And that's not, a lot of the times we're not negotiating the deals with the talent. We leave that to the agencies and the brands. I don't particularly want to be on the hook for a lot of that stuff. Where I'm sure with you guys, it's a little different, maybe with some of the musicians and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, we typically just from our past in the music industry and working with the record labels, the artists come to us directly. We work with a lot of rock stars, stuff like that. They're awesome. People always ask me who's crazy and who wants green M&Ms and that whole thing. And it's they're all great, from as big as you can think to as young and whether it's hip hop, whether it's country, they're typically pretty great. Any influencer-y type people I usually catch them once they have a career, once they have a music career or an album out or something. But yeah, it just depends. It just depends. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hey guys, thanks for coming out. I was wondering, as far as the music side of things goes, let's say you have an artist that comes to you and wants you to make a series of videos to promote their album. Usually, how many videos do you make from how many music videos, how many short promo videos do you make, or how many teasers do you make for one album?
Yeah, that's a great question. It always varies. It depends on what they want to do. We actually just finished shooting 5 music videos for the same artist, all across a narrative thread that goes through all 5. I see that becoming popular, which is really cool. I'm sure we'll cut teasers for them. We'll cut probably a 30-second. We'll cut a 10-second. It really depends. We do a lot of track by tracks. Those people like those, artists sitting down in the recording studio where they record the album, talk about each track. I always say this, digital content is the most malleable, elastic, forever living thing. You can just make it we went out to Mexico to shoot for this tequila company a year and a half ago. I still see some videos that they post online recently that they new content. It's a reservoir, they pull from it, so it really varies.
Do we have any questions from the nosebleed section? Yes, I can. Can you say that one more time, a little louder? Yeah, we heard you.
We're just
we were thinking. Not everything comes right away, guys.
Patrick?
Yeah, you first.
You're the youngest. You tell us.
Yeah.
Patrick.
Being adaptive, I guess. Social media and the internet is changing and developing very rapidly. So if you're just open-minded about what's coming, if you hear of an app that you don't necessarily want to check out because all the young teens are on it right now, just go ahead, check it out, download it, and adapt and learn.
What is that app? TikTok?
TikTok?
Is that the thing that I was talking about?
That's the thing.
That's
TikTok.
the TikTok.
App,
See,
yeah.
You're showing my age. All right, cool, great. I'm leaving. So the question was, what traits do you think have helped you be successful, or what do I value as the most successful trait? I think I probably have had to learn this over time, but this is still a people industry, and so being able to treat people like people, I think, is probably the most important. And someone that, could have been a PA on my set 6 years ago is now at some network in some position, and I need something from him. And so it kind of all goes kind of full circle. And so I think, just probably just like being kind and down to earth and chill. Like it's helpful. You don't need to be a jerk. You don't need to have an ego. The egos kill things. So that's probably,
1,000,000% keeping your head. That like I grew up in the industry when it was like Devil Wears Prada was cool, and like all the successful people were like screaming at the lower level people, and I like once I kind of started moving up, I maintained that, and it quickly was a roadblock. You got to be cool. You got to be open minded. The amount of clients I've lost by telling them off. Back 6-7 years ago, I keeping your head is the most important quality.
Cool. Well, was that something that you had to? Was it something you were putting on because that's what the industry had taught you, or was it something that was innate in you that you had to tame, or both? Or?
Yeah, I'm pretty passionate and pretty eccentric, and I thought that hammering the nail in was the way to do it with all your might rather than finessing it, even recently, like my business partner said, "Man, you used to be Donald Trump and now you're Barack Obama," and I was like, "That's scary." That I was once like Trump, but yeah, like it just it kind of just was my own passion. But you can tweak that passion to make it work for you,
Yeah, I think just some of it comes with age and experience and maturity, and it also, especially for both of us, like, we have people that work for us all the time, you sound like me a little bit. I can get very, very passionate about something, and I can get very tunnel visioned too. And so like I have to kind of keep myself in check with some of that stuff sometime, and realizing people are trying to do their best. And also, like, you're not going to get the best out of anybody if you're kind of a jerk. Like it's kind of the thing. You want, like, our jobs are to try to get the best out of everybody. Sure. So.
Sure. Yet it is fun to be a jerk. No.
Hello, my name's Natasha, and I just want to first off thank you guys for being here. You guys have really said some really insightful things. But I wanted to ask you, as you guys continue to build your team and grow, what do you look for in a potential candidate for someone that's either interning or working for you, or just want to partner with? So what kind of gravitates?
Yeah, great question. Multiple hat wearing abilities is huge for me. Usually when I hire someone coming out of school or younger, I want to know that they know their way around a camera and editing, and can put a deck together for a pitch, and can, write or be creative, come up, ideate. It sounds crazy, but I did it, and I'm sure you did it too. I mean, when I started, I was writing, editing, shooting, everything. It's not that you have to, but wear as many hats as you can, I think, is super important.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good point. I think the other thing is kind of going back to that, like, ego thing a little bit. Sometimes, I've had really good employees, and I've had really, like, bad decision employees that I've made, and I've had to learn that myself. And sometimes, the willingness to get your hands dirty, and like to know what's around you, to be like aware when things are kind of like in mass panic, and like everyone kind of needs to step it up a level, and then also times where it's kind of chill, so you can like take a step back. And so maybe that self-awareness thing is kind of like a big thing for me. But yeah, I mean, we're too small of companies to have somebody that usually only does just one thing. So, yeah.
And I guess I'm at the area in my life where I'm not able to hire anyone per se, but I'm also interviewing the people that I'm working for, the clients as well. So if they're down to earth and genuine and able to have a conversation like this, but also say directly what they mean and what they want, that's a huge plus to be able to know that before you start working for them.
How about the nosebleed section again? Any questions up here? Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I mean, my honest answer that came to my brain right away was like complacency kills. That's literally what I thought. Is that there is no time to be complacent. Unfortunately, there's moments you can have, brief moments, but then I don't find myself complacent. Anytime we've been complacent as a company, it's been bad, and you'll tend to pay for it for a few months afterwards. And so, I think it's more, I don't look at it so much as like numbers and dollars, and more about like the craft and the idea that like I'm still very early in shaping kind of the filmmaker I am, and so I have that like that long-term goal, and so that I think that maybe helps me. I'm always trying to get better, and I think you mentioned it earlier. You were like, when do I get frustrated with a client, right? And or a certain job is like I try to go implement a new skill, and I think that was like it was great feedback, and so yeah, that's probably my take.
I think, yeah, I agree. All that stuff. Yeah, you said it perfectly.
Same.
Well, Jake, one quick thing here. I told Jake that this was an accelerated program in the entertainment business program that you're in. It's a grind for you, and it just so happens that his degree is in business, and it also was an accelerated program. And he said a few things about his experience in that, and I thought that was great what he said about it, because you guys are in the same boat in many ways. So tell us just a little bit about how that program, being accelerated and working you to death, has helped you today.
How's it helped me? It was a grind. So I guess to give you guys some context, I went to community college for 2 years, got that done, and then wanted to finish my undergrad in business at Mount St. Mary's University, which is not the college here. It's actually a college on the East Coast. And during that same time, I actually just started running the company with my business partner in our basement, in my basement. With a $5,000 loan from each of our parents, and so we bought some cameras and just started going to work. And so, in the evenings, from 7 to 11 at night, Monday through Friday, for almost what felt like 2 years or somewhere around there, felt like 10 years, I guess. I went to school at night, and I, worked during the day, and it ended up, I think we mentioned this when we were talking, but they ended up actually being like our first legitimate client. It was the actual university. So kind of all the money I ended up giving them, they ended up giving me at least most of it back, or not all of it, of course, but
LA Film School's not going to do that.
A portion. You guys can do it. I'm telling you. Find the marketing director. Yeah.
We have time for about one more question. Yes, sir. So in terms of the views and the feedback that's instantaneous in social media, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I get asked, and you probably get asked all the time, I want a viral video, right? I don't know what that's, I still don't know what that means. It's not something you can make. It's lightning striking, a cat playing the piano goes viral. Like, I can't make, I always say, when someone says it, I'm like, I'm gonna make the video. If it goes viral, that's awesome. We want like 10 million views. Like, most clients don't give any kind of like, it must reach this. But the few that do, I just say like, we're telling a story. We're gonna tell it right. Hopefully it'll resonate, because I don't know what's gonna happen, people are so fickle, and what they like. Yeah.
I mean, I probably can second that. It sounds like we're very similar. Once we're finished making the content, we hand it off to the agency or the brand, and they're doing all the paid ads. We kind of, stay out of it to a certain extent. And at the end of the day, it's usually probably been a a creative collaboration between the brand and us, or the agency and us. And so, you know, they're kind of on the hook just as much as we are, as long as we're not, you know, messing something up. Yeah.
Patrick, in your case, is there any expectation that you hit a quota, do a thing, or you're out?
There's definitely expectation. For example, we did a video a couple months ago about the Vatican and climate change, and we thought that was going to get a bunch of positive feedback online, but it turned sour. A lot of religious people came after us for that, and it was completely unexpected, but now that I think about it, it makes sense. So you never really know what you're going to get, but you really just want to begin by starting with the story you want to tell and not limiting yourself to time limits per se, and then cutting it down to see what kind of story you're able to tell with the words that you crafted.
All right, we have one more question from me. It's from me. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
What's your marketing strategy, and how it changed through years when you started, how you really market yourself? And another question, what's the product in entertainment business? When you want to market something, you have to determine the product you market, how you do that.
Okay.
So about marketing myself, how's that changed? Honestly, still to this day, word of mouth is our best. Like I could take a gazillion meetings, cold meetings, cold calls. I don't really do cold calls, but you know, if someone hooks me up with a meeting, whatever. But it's like if one artist has a good, you know, this artist calls that artist, you know, and they recommend, that's still our best way of getting business. And honestly, I post a picture on a shoot. Tons with marketing.
You know, with clients, but also part of
So all the people that I work with, I make sure that I am on contact with them on at least a monthly basis, seeing what they're up to, what they're doing, and if they need any help with something, just being a genuine human and maybe going to a coffee date or a lunch date and chatting with them to see what's up.
Great. Well, one last question tonight, and that is, can you walk us through your day?
What day is today? Oh, Tuesday.
I don't know what day it is.
You guys go, because I got to think about it. What am I killing?
All right, so I'm going to forget some stuff. But so my day starts tonight. So I'm going to go home. I'm finishing a documentary, and so I have a composer, I have a mixer, I have a colors, I have titles, I have all this stuff kind of going on at once, and we're trying to get this all pushed out before I leave. And so I have like cue mixes waiting for me as soon as I get home to give feedback to these guys so they can get it back. I have a meeting. We're building out a new roster on the company, so I'm meeting with the director tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Then I go over to the Incendio Color, which is a really cool color place in Venice, to finish coloring the film. And then I have the assortment of contracts, estimates, new bids. I have a creative proposal due for an unscripted show on Friday, and so there's kind of it's all over. Yeah.
Yeah, my day starts tonight as well. I'm going to a show at a hotel cafe, an artist who wants to talk, doing a music video. I'm going to see the show. We'll have a drink, talk about it, see if there's anything there. I have calls tomorrow. Potential client wants an animated music video that turns her into a video game, which is pretty cool. Another one of my massive clients, she's one of the judges on America's Got Talent. She's going to be performing tomorrow on her finale, and we're going to try and talk doing the music video. I've got that, and then by 5 p.m. I'll be in an edit for those 5 music videos, and then by 8 p.m. I'll be drinking.
Yeah, I mean, I will be drinking tonight, so let's just be clear now.
My day does not start tonight. I will be ordering pizza on Netflix or something.
What are you watching?
Ooh, what am I watching? Chelsea Handler's new show that just came out. I'm excited for that one. I'll start tomorrow morning. I am working with a company called Cub Coats. They're
But isn't it really cool when we hear these industry professionals and the work